we talked about assessment and why we assess. There are really three main types of assessment that faculty uses in their classroom. The first one is diagnostic, and that's an assessment that happens before the students start the class, before they start the program, before the unit. It really is main emphasis is to test students' prior knowledge, to see where the gaps are, and hopefully the more faculty works with these type of assessment, the more they have ready material and content that is going to help their students bridge the gaps without having the faculty reteach the material. So it's the test, think of it as the test that comes before instruction. One hopes also that it tells students what they're missing. The second type is formative assessment. And this is really the most important type of assessment that a teacher can give their students. Why? Especially if your course is built on itself. So chapter 2 builds on chapter 1 and chapter 3, etc. It is really important to see where the gap in knowledge is and whether you do a quick video or address the content, something you as a teacher do to address where that gap is. To think of it as a verb, not a noun. And it should really drive the instruction during the class. So how? Like I said, there could be links and material and other content that direct students to. Sometimes if you find a good portion of the students having issues with that, let's say that unit, then maybe you address it. But if only some of the students, then you have content to direct students to. So these are examples of formative assessment. Muddiest point, one sentence. Muddiest point is online discussion forum where students can write, what they don't understand. Opinion polls. I'm going to do a video on opinion polls using it in Zoom. It's a great tool to have students tell you what they're missing, where the gap is, without having to admit out loud what the gap is. But if you find 75, 80% of the students have an issue with a unit, then you know there's something maybe you need to address, you need to clarify. The last one is the summative assessment. Normally we do that at the end of program. It requires instructor feedback, it's graded, and it's often mandatory. What I forgot to mention about formative, it can be graded, but it's often the formative assessment, it's often a non-graded activity. The summative assessment, because it builds on itself. So students, for example, English 101, students cannot enroll in English 1102 without a passing grade, whatever the institution decide is the passing grade. Most of them, it's a C or better to enroll in 1102. You're taking Chem 1, 2, 3. You can't enroll in Chem 2 without a passing grade in that one. So that's why a grade in summative assessment is required. Often it's mandatory when it's at the end of a program. In the health sciences, students cannot finish the program without a mandatory test and a mandatory grade, and usually there is a minimum passing grade for these assessment. I hope this cover the main three types of assessment. Please in the comments tell me which one you use the most and what are your best strategies on working with those. Thank you for watching the video.